Good morning, my fellow Scholasticans. I can't tell you how amazing it feels to speak before you today. It's like coming home, but instead of being greeted by our teachers with surprise quizzes, it is a room full of inspiring women who have done so much with their lives. And yet, even with all your incredible accomplishments, I know deep down you're still the same women who would panic when that terror teacher entered the room. During my time, that teacher was Mr. Danny Galang, who turned out to be a good friend of mine after I dropped his class. Kidding aside, it is a privilege to be among you, united by our shared identity as daughters of St. Scholastica's College. This institution, which has produced leaders, pioneers, and change makers, is not just a school. It is a force that has instilled in us a commitment to critical thinking, social justice, and most importantly, courage. Today, I want to talk about a quality that I believe defines us as Scholasticans: grit. Grit is a word that's thrown around a lot these days. But for us, it's not just a buzzword, it's how we were raised. It's the tenacity to keep going, born of purpose and perseverance, that has carried us through challenges and propelled us to heights we never imagined. For me, grit started long before I even understood the word. I think of my nanay who raised six kids on her own. She made sure our lives were full of love and joy. She was paralyzed, couldn't speak clearly or care for herself, but still was the strongest person I have ever known, and the reason why I have become a strong woman. She taught me that even when life feels impossible, there's always a way to keep going. I thought I had her strength when I packed my bags to leave for New York over 20 years ago with nothing but $1,000 in my pocket. But when I kissed her goodbye, not knowing if I'd ever see her again, I realized what grit really means. At St. School, grit wasn't something we learned from a textbook. It was in the air we breathed. Whether we were speaking up for what was right, surviving finals week after using up all our absences, or pulling three all-nighters in a row to be able to submit our thesis, we were already living it. Here, we weren't just taught to excel academically. We were taught to question, to challenge, and to lead. The Benedictine value of ora et labora, to pray and work with equal fervor, shaped us into women of purpose and resilience. My first months in the US were tough. I cleaned houses, babysat, and took every opportunity I could find just to get by, all while silently asking myself, is this really my life now? I remember one moment vividly as I was vigorously scrubbing a bathroom wall. Tears streamed down my face when I thought, why am I here? What am I doing? Why am I cleaning someone else's bathroom when I have a master's degree, had a great career in Manila, and was in the middle of my PhD from the top school of the country? I shouldn't be here, I thought. But then I heard my nanay's voice in my heart. This is temporary. When you're at the bottom, there's nowhere to go but up. So I kept scrubbing those bathroom walls, kept showing up, and little by little, doors began to open. After 5 months of house cleaning and babysitting, I found myself in rooms I once thought were closed to me, advocating for workers and women's rights, standing up for immigrants, and eventually leading campaigns that impacted thousands of lives, not just in New York, but throughout the United States. Those early struggles taught me that grit isn't about where you start. It's about where you're headed. And every time I wanted to give up, I thought of the lessons I learned here at Saint School, where the walls taught us to fight, to rise, and to lead. I did not wait for doors to open for me. I built them and kept them open for others. I learned that the pursuit of thriving abroad is not merely about achieving personal success, but also about creating meaningful impact and empowering others along the way. It is a journey marked by resilience, grit, compassion, and the belief in the possibility of a better tomorrow. That's the funny thing about grit. It doesn't just carry you through the hard times, it makes you stronger for the next challenge. This grit and spirit inspired me to write my book, Boundless, which had a successful pre-launch this past December. Due to unforeseen circumstances, it's currently out of stock, but will be relaunched later this month. Writing my chapters for Boundless has been an emotional journey. Revisiting the challenges I faced abroad brought back emotions I wasn't sure I wanted to feel again. But through those memories, I found courage not only to tell my story, but to share my vulnerabilities with the world. This book is deeply personal. It's a collection of stories that reveal what it's truly like to live far from home. These are stories of resilience, triumph, and the struggles often hidden behind a smile. It also inspired me to create Usapang Boundless, a platform where Filipinos can share their own stories of grit, resilience, and transformation. It's my way of giving back and of creating a space for voices that deserve to be heard. If I've opened doors for Americans in the States, why not do the same for my fellow kababayans? At Usapang Boundless, I aim to uplift Filipinos wherever they may be. Because while we are not free from struggles, what makes Filipinos unique is our ability to face challenges with courage and turn them into triumphs. At Usapang Boundless, we will feature an individual or groups of individuals through their stories. It would be great to have a large number of Colasas sharing their own journeys, so I would like to take this opportunity to invite you to connect with me via Usapang Boundless. Before I end, I would also like to take this opportunity to thank my teachers who terrorized me, like Mr. Danny Galang, those who mentored and shaped me, like Dr. Emmy Villar, and those who inspired me to fight for others, like Sister Mary-Jan Mananzan. They are the backbones of the walls of St. Scho. Through all our teachers and the Benedictine value of ora et labora, grit was ingrained in us. As Scholasticans, grit is in our DNA. It's in how we showed up even when things were tough. Now it's our turn to pass that grit forward. Whether it's mentoring someone, sharing your story, or simply showing up for someone who needs you, we have the power to inspire and uplift. That's what being a Scholastican is all about, lifting others as we climb. So here we are, back where it all started, to some since we were teenagers, to others since you were preschoolers. These walls remind us that behind every struggle is a story of courage, resilience, and triumph waiting to be told. Let's carry that spirit forward. Share your stories. Lend your grit to someone who needs it. And never forget that behind every smile, yours and mine, is the power to inspire. Thank you for letting me share my story and my book with you. I'm proud to call myself your sister and fellow Colasa. When women with Scholastican grit rise, the world doesn't stand a chance. Mabuhay tayong lahat. Maraming salamat.